Have you ever wondered just how much weight your tree stand safety harness will hold and at what point it will break? Well, we're fixing to find out. We're what you call curious. Don't try this at home.
I think it's a wrap, Josh. Good job, buddy.
Huh? Hey, get back here! Get back here, Steve Collins! Come on, buddy, let me out of this thing! I use an ivy on that tree. I don't know. So, do you just want to double that up, maybe? So you may or may not know that September is Tree Stand Safety Awareness Month, and what better time to test a tree stand safety harness? All right, so exactly how are we gonna test this? Well, the scheme that we've kind of come up with goes a little bit like this. Steve is currently hooking up a log chain to a tree. Said log chain will then be hooked to the safety harness. Said safety harness is actually going to be hooked to a scale. Now, this is an 880-pound scale. That's what it's rated for. We'll see if it holds up. We're kind of, I guess, testing it as well. So the scale then will be hooked to another log chain that will then be hooked to the John Deere Gator. And our idea, or what we're going to try to do, is slowly progress and put weight, put strain on the entire safety harness. Now we're thinking the way these are built is the tether is made kind of as a shock absorber for that first initial fall. So we're going to see at what point that tether actually breaks. Now, in all fairness, these safety harnesses are actually a couple years old, so they've seen some UV light, some weather, so on and so forth, but they should still work. And it should give us a pretty doggone good idea of how much force or how much weight one of these suckers will hold. So our first thing is to test the tether and see it. Maybe we'll just hook Steve up to it. I don't know. So we're going to test the tether and see at what point that sucker starts to rip the seams, etc., and break. After that, we're going to try and test the actual buckles that go around your leg and try to see at what point they break and release. So that's kind of our goal. That's kind of our plan. Just kind of haphazardly putting this together. We'll see how this shakes out. Of course, when we're doing a test, the first thing is safety. Safety rules here, y'all. Here we go.
There she goes.
The scale.
There goes the scale. Oh, we got batteries there.
Yeah.
Oh, the tether did come apart. The tether did come apart. Well, this is interesting. This is interesting. This is interesting. Let's take this off here. So we thought initially the scale broke because Steve saw parts and batteries. Here's one right here. Saw batteries go flying. So that was interesting. However, after recovering said scale, it's actually still together. Steve just found the back door. It ripped through the screws is what happened. Huh, interesting. So we're gonna have to look. In fact, I wish I would have put the one camera in slow motion, but we didn't. But it was, I mean, it was holding. Now, okay, so the scale broke, or at least the batteries came out when it all gave way. But the tether right there, the tether did come apart, and we're gonna have to go back, obviously, and look at the footage.
Right.
And see at what point the tether actually snapped or broke. So I'd say, I mean, we have to look at the footage, but I'd say that we should know the weight at which the tether broke.
Well, yeah.
Which is what we wanted to find in this test. Now the interesting part will be if we put these here batteries back in, if the scale actually turns on. Now where's the other part that goes to the bottom? I would say it's still working. And probably at the correct weight. Huh. Okay, so we definitely got to go back and look at the footage. What do you think, Lou?
I think we do.
And then we can test the clasp.
Not real happy about it.
I'm tearing up Steve's yard. He's not real happy about it.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So you want to do it again?
Yeah, we'll do that again.
Okay.
Okay, so here's kind of the current situation, current state of affairs. We have kind of, get out of the shadow there, we have kind of, I think, maybe, sort of, we'll see, fixed the scale. How did we fix the scale? Well, a little Gorilla 200-mile-an-hour tape. Right there, little Gorilla 200-mile-an-hour tape, also known as duct tape. On the back side to hopefully help hold the batteries in. And then there used to be just basically an S-hook that went around the bottom of the scale, and that went a-flying. So we've got just a chain linker that we're going to use for that side of things. What I am impressed with is we had the buckles, the leg part, all down here. We had that attached to the chain, and they are all in one piece, still functioning pretty much perfectly. So, kind of impressed there. The one thing, we did look back at the footage real quick. We obviously did not get the scale, the actual weight. So, what our plan this time is, I think, is going to be freehand this camera, the one that you're looking at right now, freehand with that camera and try, because the scale flipped on us, try to figure out which way it's going to go and get ahead of it and stage the camera appropriately so we can actually see at what point it tears. We'll see how it goes. Kind of a trial by error here. All right, so we've had kind of a change of plans here too. We're going to use Steve's tractor. I think it'll give us a little bit slower of a acceleration. So we'll be able to control going forward a little bit better. And at the same time, that'll allow us to keep track of the scale and which way it's going to want to turn a little bit better. So I think it gives us just a little bit more control over everything that's going on down here. That's what we're going to try. That's what we're going to try. The Gator worked, had the power to do it, what we wanted it to do. It was just kind of a all-at-once motion. So, which it's kind of going to be with that tether. It's probably going to give all at once, but I think this will just give us a little bit more control going forward. We'll see. We're going to find out here shortly. I'm putting my lid on, my bonnet. .543 and holding. Go ahead. That's pretty impressive.
What did it?
880 and it was still holding. That's impressive.
That's real impressive.
So maybe we just move on to the next test. I don't.
Yeah.
What's the next test?
Still got a little bit left in that.
Well, I know, but I want to test those buckles too.
Right.
So I think we leave it for now, because maybe later on we can come back with a fall test, with an actual fall test.
Right.
So maybe that's good for right now.
I would think so. You look good.
Gonna break at 880.
It's really what matters is how stupid you look.
All right, so here's the deal. We're discussing the current situation. Let me get my lighting here so you can actually see us. There we go. All right, so our current situation goes a little bit something like this. The scale's rated to 880 pounds. We hit that, and it threw the error code that we are overweight. I hear that a lot.
Yeah, I bet you do. Mama tells you that quite often, doesn't she? Error, error, error.
Right, so we know, at least we know that the tether for a slow pull like that is good past 800 pounds.
There's no 800-pound guy getting in a tree, I can tell you that.
Are you sure about that?
Well, yeah, probably
Josh is
not.
pushing 250 and he can barely get in
Oh,
there.
come on. That's a lie. So I think what we're gonna do is we're just gonna go ahead and test the buckles. I've got another idea for testing the tether again later down the road. We just aren't gonna have enough time tonight. We're gonna have to rig some other stuff up for that. So I think we'll test the buckles and see if those will work. See if those will bust at 800 pounds or not. But I think we can confirm that the tether's, at least as a slow pull,
Right.
good past 800 pounds. That's pretty awesome.
A lot different than if you were actually up in a tree stand
Right,
and the tree stand gave way and you dropped
right,
your average 200-pound guy.
right. I've got another idea though.
We've also got a guy coming in that's a professional mathematician that could possibly help us out with some of that.
I don't know if he's a professional mathematician, but
I'm going to call him a professional.
okay. We're going to talk to my dad here. We came up with an idea to talk to my dad and get him involved. He was a physics teacher back in the day before he retired about 10 years ago. It's been longer than that.
Yeah.
Yeah. But anyways, we're going to talk to him and figure some stuff out here too. But I think that does it for the tether.
I do too.
Yeah. So we're going to move on to the buckle.
This John Deere could rip all that apart like it was nothing if I really wanted to. And because most of that stuff is Josh's, I do really want to.
Oh, yeah. All right, so let's move on. All right, so we're taking this tether apart, or the whole apparatus, testing apparatus we've got going on here. And just wanted to look, and you can see the tethers are still really in pretty good shape, even after 800 pounds of pressure being exerted on them. In fact, I can hardly see a tear. Now, something up here was tearing. Yeah, yep, right up here at the top of the harness. This was tearing. This was tearing up in here, but the actual tether is still in good shape. So I think our first test, just in general, was an equipment failure. I mean, I don't think there's any other way around it because stuff went flying.
Right.
That was just and not the harness, just
the
testing apparatus.
Right.
Yeah.
We had an S hook we were using.
Yeah, the S hook. Yep.
Carabiner.
Right. All right, so we were set up for test number 2. Got our driver up in the cab, and we are tied to the buckle, so the part that goes around your leg of the safety harness. We're going to test that, see if that buckle stands up to 800 pounds. I got a feeling it probably will. Any bets, Steve?
Yeah, I feel pretty good about that.
Yeah.
I mean,
All right.
I can put enough torque on it, I can break it.
And we might do that.
John Deere rolls, but that's not what we're trying to do here, unfortunately.
We might break one. We might just put it to the test.
I feel like we're gonna.
I think we might gonna. We might gonna.
We might gonna.
We might gonna.
We might.
We might gonna put one really to the test and try to break it. Both the tether, which is the part that absorbs the shock on the initial fall, and the buckles themselves stood up to over 800 pounds of pressure without blinking an eye.
Yeah.
That's pretty awesome, I think.
That's real awesome.
Steve's really impressed.
I feel safe already.
I know. So I think what we're gonna do is go ahead and just destroy one.
I think so too. Here's my thought too.
Yeah.
I wonder how there's got to be an industry safety standard for all of them, correct?
Yes, most of them, the weight limit is 300 pounds.
So yeah, we exceeded that
And then some,
a little bit.
almost 3 times
Yeah.
the maximum weight capacity.
Mm-hmm.
So that's pretty awesome. It's really pretty awesome, I think. But I think it's also given me a couple ideas to test further down the road. We'll talk to, maybe talk to my dad, what'd you say, the professional what?
Mathematician.
Professional
is the word I like to
mathematician,
use.
but he's not a mathematician. That'd be like one of our math teachers, like Mr.
Correct.
Fetterman or
Correct.
something. Yeah,
Well, then, yes.
yeah, yeah.
Well,
So,
I was never real good at math. Or any of those, to be quite. Well, I wouldn't say I wasn't good. I had a hard time.
you didn't
getting that.
apply yourself.
Well, then there's that.
All right, didn't apply himself.
Fine, John.
Our man Lewis is ahead of the game on what we're doing next, but I think we're going to go ahead and call this good, other than just destroying a safety harness and watching stuff go fly. I
Which
guess.
is really why I'm here.
Other one?
Right, that's really why Steve's here, for
I
sure.
didn't really want to do this boring part. I just wanted to rip it apart. If we're being honest. I'd prefer to have Josh in it as we pulled on it.
I already
He's
did.
a little short. I'd like to see if we could stretch him out.
I already did my danger thing of letting you lift me up in a safety harness, which is rather uncomfortable in certain regions, as you can imagine.
And I really wanted to kind of jerk him around and, you know, lift the bucket up and down a few times. And,
Right.
But he wouldn't let me.
No, homie, don't play that game.
I didn't feel like it was going to be safe. You
Right.
know?
Right. All right, so let's pull one of these things apart, and after that we'll talk to my dad, and then maybe again down the line, maybe later this month, we'll do another test that I have an idea for. We've got Sweet Lou behind the wheel. He's driving our test rig. Steve and I are just gonna stand back, don the helmets, and let him do his thing. We're gonna see what one of these looks like, just completely ripped apart. You ready?
We're ready.
Lewis, you ready?
Ready?
Fire up, buddy. I was expecting it to be a little bit more dramatic.
Well, that's the power of the John Deere. What can I say, folks?
I think we were expecting a little bit more in the way of dramatics there, but let's see what part failed where. What do you think, Steve-O?
Just as I thought.
What did you think?
Just no chance with the John Deere behind it.
In front of
And
it?
listen, I'm not being sponsored by John Deere. For being honest. I would like
Well,
to,
look
though.
at you.
I would. I know. I mean, how? I don't know what's. I don't know how I can't get a sponsor.
All right, amazingly, the tether is still in shape.
What gave way?
I don't know.
Back her off a little bit, Lou.
Yeah, come back a little bit there, Lou. Aha!
Here, folks.
There's the culprit.
I bet that'll still snap in. You want to bet?
Let's bet. Actually, I don't want to bet. Nope. Look at the one side. We have a failure. We finally have a failure.
Well, that means your leg would have fell right out.
But you had
But then again,
a tractor with how much pull behind it?
yeah. Again, we're talking John Deere. I mean, what can I say, folks?
You're such a moron. Huh. Oh, we did start to tear up here too. I don't even know what part that is at this point.
It's like dissecting.
Yeah, I mean,
This here. Want the leg part again. This here. I don't even know.
that's
what
a,
that is.
yeah, I don't even know what's what anymore.
I think that's your back part. Well, no, that's where your legs connect there.
Yeah.
Yeah, it doesn't really matter.
Yeah.
What matters is we had a good time.
Because we had a good time. That is what matters. I think we learned a little bit something, eh?
I think we did. And I think you did too. I mean, look at me. You learned that I look pretty good with a helmet on. My ears sticking out.
If you say so. Huh. Well, anyways, that's going to wrap it up for this part of the video. The next one we'll be talking with my dad, the mathematician, physics teacher, and we'll talk some physics. But I'm pretty
give a thumbs down to that.
I'm pretty impressed with the overall with the strength of the tether and of the buckles.
Oh, I thought you were talking about me. Okay. My bad. My bad.
No, we're not talking about you, Steve-O. But again, I'm pretty impressed with the strength of the tether and the buckles. Exceeded 800 pounds and then some. So that's pretty awesome. Thanks to Sweet Lou for all the assistance today, driving the big rig, getting it done, running the camera a little bit. Thanks, brother. So anyways, that's a wrap on this part of the video. We destroyed a harness, we tested out the tether, and we're gonna move on to another test here later on, maybe a couple weeks down the road. All right, guys and gals, we wanted to do a quick follow-up to our video before we get some comments. Well, that's not a real-world situation. We know. We were simply testing tensile strength and not testing the safety harnesses as they were designed to function. That is going to come in part 2 of our safety harness test. Part 1 was strictly a tensile strength, wanted to see at what point the seams on the tether strap would break and at what point the buckles would break. The way these are actually designed to function, if you don't know, is when you fall in a free fall situation out of a tree stand, these act as a shock absorber. They are sewn back upon themselves, the tether is. So when you fall, those seams rip and kind of slow your fall, so that initial shock when it pulls tight isn't so harsh on your body. So be aware that we know that's not how they were designed to function, what we did in test 1. So nonetheless, pretty impressive, I think, you know, that Steve's tractor and the Gator pulled these apart and exceeded our scale weight of 880 pounds. Don't have a scale large enough or heavy duty enough to test the actual tear weight. But to know that they exceed 880 pounds, that's pretty cool. So again, in test 2, we'll actually test them the way they were designed to function. We're gonna get together with my dad, as we mentioned, Mr. Mathematician. Not really, he was a physics and biology teacher, high school physics and biology. So we're gonna get together with him, go over some calculations on the amount of force that a human body generates. It's a lot. It's a lot more than what you think. I've heard some numbers out there, and I'm not going to even mention them until we get together with him and talk about those calculations. So that'll be coming up in test 2 here in a couple of weeks. In the meantime, we've got some other videos that we'll be posting here in the next several weeks as well. So please hammer that like and subscribe button and turn on notifications so you know when we post a new video. But that's a wrap on this one. What do you think, Wade Dog? You ready, buddy? We got some other stuff to do. So again, hope you learned something from this video. We've got another one coming up in a couple of weeks. And until then, go live the Will Hunt life and enjoy the great outdoors.